Welcome to episode number 107 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast. Victory Saturday, fellas.
Hey.
First time we can say that all year.
Had to wait for it, though.
Yeah, it didn't come easy, did it?
No, it did not.
Nobody had a word to say there. All right.
The truth hurts.
Man, that was brutal.
The way it was going, though, it sure looked like it was going to come a downpour. I mean, I was looking around, they said, every time that lightning strikes, it's 30 more minutes,
Yep.
And I'm going, I don't see any lightning. And I looked back through the other side of the stadium and I went, it was just going all crazy, left and right.
The 107th game in the history of Allen Eagle football. It was the first game of the year in 1971. Against, at that time, the Frisco Coons. That was their mascot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear it.
They were
It's history.
fighting
Raccoons.
coons.
The score of that lovely game, for those who were there, 0-0.
Oh.
Wow.
Started the year off with a tie. So
That must have been really exciting.
We'll go through these this year because that'll be the season we'll talk about as we do our podcast. It's the number game, but the first game of the year was a 0-0 tie. The 107th win for the Allen Eagles in program history occurred in 1980, 10 years later.
10 years later.
It was a playoff game by district against Cedar Hill.
Oh.
48-20 victory, which made the Eagles 11-0. So,
Now, did they have those metal detectors back then? Yeah, stadium over there?
I don't know where they played that game.
Wow.
Probably wasn't Cedar Hill. There you go, 107 against Cedar Hill. And that's when they were in 11-3A, 1980, a 3A school.
Yeah, that'd
Bull
be,
White was 4 years old.
that'd be a good trivia question. How many different
Districts have they been in?
they've been in? Have they been in them all?
It's interesting. The teams they played that year, I just love reading this because it makes you realize how small Allen was at the time. Frisco, Red Oak, Midlothian, Lake Worth, Bonham, Lake Dallas, Wiley, Commerce, Whitesboro, Allen Ford, which is probably still
Wow.
Man, they traveled.
That's true Friday Night Lights bus
Yeah.
rides.
Yeah. And then Cedar Hill in the by-district game, and next week we'll learn who they played in the regional playoffs. But Lake Worth, Bonham, Lake Dallas,
Man, that's all over the place.
Commerce, Whitesboro.
Red
On a
Oak.
yellow dog, buddy.
Red Oak.
Could you imagine? Woo, 19 riding in a yellow dog. Well, there you have it. You are up to speed on Allen Eagle history. I know several people responded last week that they were at certain games that we talked about, so that's pretty cool to sit back and listen to. So it wasn't...
Certain of those games?
Yeah. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Of course, some of the people that we know graduated from Allen about that time, and so they were well, Randy Bridges, Jill Bridges, they certainly know about it, spoke about it. Allen wins last night against...
You're Nolan today. You got to watch the TV.
Yeah.
Don't answer any questions.
Got it. Mine.
Yeah, just sit there and stare.
Yeah, Jill was a Talonette.
She was.
Heard about that yesterday.
Imagine that.
Said she could still fit in her uniform.
Yeah, and her hair still, at this point, still doesn't move.
No.
Her hair spray and stuff like
It's all
Y'all are
awkward.
going to get Jill mad at us.
It's all awkward up.
Jill, that was good. David, and Al.
I'm James today.
Good luck with that.
I know.
You got mustard on your crotch. All right, we've got to tell the story. We've got to tell it since I brought it up.
I'll be back.
No.
No!
Tell the story.
Where are you going?
I'll be back.
We're sitting at tailgate yesterday, and the wind picks up pretty
Drastically.
significantly
Yeah.
around 5:30, 6 o'clock. We had brats yesterday, and I'm sitting there with my plate on the table, and I finish eating, and I get a little dab of mustard. I guess it was a big dab of mustard
Big
still
dab
on
of
the plate.
mustard.
And James is sitting not where Cody is, but
45
diagonal.
degrees from you.
Yeah. And I stand up to get my plate and put it in the trash, and a big gust of wind comes.
Just pick that plate up.
Picked the plate up and landed it right in James's crotch.
I mean, it was like a magnet.
It was like a magnet.
And the look on his face was kind of disturbing, but, he didn't. He looked out in space and started laughing.
He didn't realize how much mustard had deposited.
He pulled that plate off. He still didn't know, and then we were just dying laughing, and it's just a big yellow swash.
It couldn't have landed anywhere more perfect.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
It was terrible. We feel so bad.
Clearly, as we're taking pictures.
So in honor of James,
We have the guilty party. There it is, the mustard. That's awesome. Oh, man.
we should call him Frenchie from now on.
Frenchie.
It was a Kodak moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Frenchie, that's good.
I've lost something here. Here we go.
Oh, darn. He'll listen to this. He'll get it.
Yeah, those have been gone a long time. So Allen wins 51-31 in a lightning short. I'm not even going to say rain because it didn't rain. In a lightning shortened
Rained
game.
a little bit on us on the way home.
Did it?
Yeah.
I think we got a few drops in the third quarter when it finally resumed, but it certainly wasn't rain that was causing the delays and keeping everybody out of the stadium. But it was one of those games where you just had to sit and wait, and most people did not choose to do that. The stadium was pretty empty at the end of the game when they finally did call it. Every time that was 11 something, it was late, real late.
Fourth quarter hadn't started.
But the Eagles rack up 434 yards of offense in 3 quarters. And I'm not going to say it was a breakout game, but it was a really good game for quarterback Brady Bricker. Really good game. And we'll talk to Coach here in a minute about him.
It was an improvement game. That's
At least
I think we all thought would happen.
Yep.
Getting better and better.
Certainly on the offensive side of the
Yeah,
ball.
it was great to see.
We were looking at stats as we were waiting there, and they ended up 213 yards passing, 221 yards rushing. You couldn't have asked for more balance. Bricker was 17 of 20, for 213 yards.
Pretty good for a kid who's only, this being his third game as quarterback.
Yeah, and I like there were times they didn't do it, but there was a lot more vertical passing this week, which you get the ball to Moose, you get the ball to Q. Caleb Smith had an absolute highlight reel touchdown, and it was a great pass by Bricker on that one.
Mm-hmm.
He had several last night where he dropped it in the bucket.
Yeah.
The two that come to mind with the Caleb pass was in between 2 defenders, and then the pass that he threw in the right for a first down to Messiah. You dropped that thing amongst 3 defenders right there.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. And then the long touchdown pass to Messiah, Messiah beat his man and he just laid it right in. So he had a much improved game. He was very strong on the ground as well. I think he ended up with 86 yards rushing. Again, you look at that and go, okay, that's the kind of stuff you look for. Week 3, you want to see progression, you want to see improvement. And I think we found it.
Yep.
And at least on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, Bricker had 86 yards rushing. Amir McDowell, who had a great touchdown run to open the offensive scoring. And we'll get into the play-by-play here in a minute, but we're going to talk to Wig here. But Amir had 64 yards. Mekhi Ellis had 63 yards of a touchdown. They spread the wealth kind of last night. And, Messiah had 5 receptions for 95. Q had 6 for 62. Caleb had 3 for 33 and a touchdown.
Yeah, the receivers were wide open on a lot of those passes.
They were.
I mean, just finding the holes.
Yep, and that's what you got to do.
Yep.
Make it easy for your quarterback to go 17 of 20. Put yourself in a position that he can get you the ball, that it won't be a problem. So, be interesting to see what Coach Wig has to say this morning. And again, we're going to call him. I hope he's up because we bailed out of there pretty quick when everything shut down last night. And I know he still had to talk to the team, and I don't know if they changed their schedule this morning or not. But we're supposed to call him at a certain time, and we'll do that here in just a minute because he didn't tell us not to. But he may not answer. So if he doesn't answer,
we get to make up his answers to our questions.
you be Coach Wig this morning.
There we go.
Let's see what he has to say. But it is a win for Allen, a much needed win. I feel like the team needed the win, the coaches needed the win, the community needed the win. Everybody should be waking up a little bit happier.
Yeah, I was a little worried back there where they got that penalty right off the bat and his sideline warning. I go, boy, here we go.
Well, that official he couldn't wait to throw that flag. Yeah. He was just in such a hurry. All right, let's see. Coach is awake.
Let's get the roosters going.
Hello?
Oh, my
Whoa.
gosh. That was quick.
2 ringy dingies and he answers.
Yeah.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're good. What time did you get to bed last night?
I don't
This
know.
morning.
Yeah, this morning.
Yeah, this morning. I don't know what time it was.
Dude.
It was dark 30.
So I don't know if we talked with you about this last year, if we had rain delays. I can't remember. That the seasons all run together sometimes.
Yeah.
What did y'all do during the big lightning delay? How'd you keep the boys? What'd you do with them?
Yeah. Well, a number of different things. We have we're always going to have a little, nutrition bar, if you will. So they come in at halftime. That's what they're going to do always. And so they're doing that. We're preparing. We're getting ready to meet, and then lightning delay. So we go down, meet with them. Say, get your pads off, relax, lay down. Listen to your music or close your eyes, take a nap, whatever it is you're going to do. Coaches went back, met a little bit more. Then we got with our guys, kind of spent a little time talking to them, about the first half, about some different things. Then, it got to a point where we're, whatever it was, going to be about 25 minutes out. Got them up, kind of started doing a little walk-through stuff just to get their body moving. Then we actually were down to about a 10-minute mark of kickoff. So we pads on, flex on, and get to, whatever, 2 minutes really from that, and another delay. So call them up, talk to them, about mindset of the delay, and about, how you sit there and you're like, oh my gosh, not this again. What are we doing? Why is this taking so long? Or
We were doing.
what a great opportunity. One of us will come out there and be the better team in the face of this adversity, and take your pads off again, close your eyes again, you put your earphones in, whatever it is you're going to do again. But all you're thinking about is what a great opportunity you have to go out there and be the best team handling a situation like this. Tell them, there's still food, get up there, there's the Gatorade, all the stuff, take care of your bodies, get ready, get rested. Let's get ready to go out there because it will happen at some point. Then coaches went back together, give them a little time to have more downtime, and actually I went down the field and discussed the scenario of how late do we go, and my comments were that I'm willing to stay all night. Just we need reps. It's what we need as a football team. And anyway, come up and fortunately we were able to get a little bit of it in it, and came back up, got them, talked to the kids again. Getting down to that count, loosen them up, came out and ready to play.
And that third quarter, from an offensive perspective, they were ready. I mean, dropping 29 points in the third quarter certainly. When you look at the overall game, we want to talk about Brady Bricker a little bit this morning with you. And I'm sure I don't know if you've looked at film yet or not or anything, but from a and again it's a stat thing, but from a stat perspective, 17 of 20 and another 86 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns receiving. He seemed to have I don't want to call it a breakout game, but he certainly had his best game so far.
Yeah, man, he's definitely getting better. He's working, really, really, really hard at it. he's being coached incredibly hard, and he's responding to that. I mean, I was really happy for him. You know, that's what, when, you know, of course throughout the game we're coaching and adjusting and doing what's going to happen the entire time, and it was good. You know, when the game was over, you know, that was the biggest comment was that, sure, I'm proud of you, and he looked and said, getting better. You know, and I said, you're getting a whole lot better, Brady.
Yeah.
And he is, and it's not just a fluke deal. I mean, he's working incredibly hard at it. I was proud of him. I was happy for him. Did a lot of good, you know. And I don't ever pay attention to stats. They don't, you know, matter to me. But what I liked is there's just a couple of plays, you know, and you know, a couple that stand out, a couple of, you know, conversions that we went for, and, you know, a couple of gate looks that we give. You know, he made a couple of really tough runs. That just, it wasn't a lot of stuff there, and he found a way to get it in, which is huge. We had a fourth down play that they defensed very well, and then he made a big play with his legs there, and just plays that, you know, and what I think about when I think about the quarterback position is simply that, you know, if you're going to play quarterback for us, you can throw, you can do things. Now, decision making, all those things certainly have to improve, but are you going to be somebody that you know, turns bad situations into manageable or turns bad into good? Are you going to be somebody that in those critical downs, whether it's you're going for a 2-point conversion or it's a third, fourth down scenario, are you going to be a guy that steps up and rises way above the norm and makes a big time play? You know, and I thought he showed signs of doing that last night, which was really exciting.
And it was cool to see. And maybe, again, our perspective is, y'all see it more than we do, but the vertical passing game seemed to pick up a little bit last night. Both Messiah and Q had big games. Did y'all see something on film that made y'all go a little bit more vertical this week?
No. I mean, we didn't. You know, we're always going to want to do that. So it's always going to be a part of our game. We want to throw the ball down the field. We want to stretch them, you know, horizontally. We want to stretch them vertically. And again, you know, like you said, had a few shots down the field. I felt like we could have taken a few more, whether we needed, you know. We just got it kind of in that third quarter, got on a little burst, and I'm actually middle third quarter right now of it. And I felt like there was things we were gonna do more. Whether or not they'd have been successful, I don't know. But it was, again, we've been working really, really, really hard at it, and, just on both the pass protection standpoint, but just the timing standpoint. And again, it was just good to see things that they've been putting so much time in, and have had good practices. You know, and you could just tell that there's things that are starting to look better in practice, and it doesn't always mean it's going to look better when they get out there and play, because it's different. But there were some of those things that shine, which was just, that was just fun to see, because again, you know, I get to see them for 2 hours a day, work on it so hard and so hard and so hard, and if it's not perfect, it's done again, and they're just, you know, they're getting better at it, and it was just good to see some of those things take place.
Exactly. We have a question for you, because we were, you know, you always wonder what happens down on the field, because you don't hear and you don't understand, but the last onside kick, it appeared to us that they touched the ball before it went 10 yards. And I know you got
The
pretty...
very last one, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got pretty adamant about it. They didn't throw a penalty flag, which they should have. Was that what you were complaining about down there?
No. So
You marched right on out.
when you kick an onside kick, you can't touch us until it goes 10 yards or we come attack the ball.
Okay.
Right. So that ball did not travel 10 yards, and you know, it's and it's something that I've, you know, and I rarely, you know, I visit with y'all about it, but I visit with our parents, with our kids, that we're never going to talk officiating. You know, I just think I think, you know, once you get in your mind that you have the ability to talk about officials,
Right.
then you're building in a crutch that, you know, I have an excuse if things don't go my way, right? So that's our mindset. We're not doing it. But in this game, you know, y'all know, I know they're big onside teams, and if you are going to kick onsides, you know, you're going to go and and essentially have a blow-up crew, right? Well, the rule is, again, you can't hit us. So I talked to them about it. I said, look, they're going to kick a lot of onside, but they're going to come, blow your kids up, and I get it. And if it's bang, bang, I get it. But if the ball isn't 10 yards, and I just asked for clarification, reiteration, they can't touch us. Oh, yeah, that's right. And, of course, I had also called, the head of the officials and visit with him, throughout the weeks today. I'm going to get with them on this. We're good. And he goes, oh, absolutely, can't do it. So I talked to him beforehand and said, it's just a protection deal, right? We're good. They're going to get some. We're going to get some. We're going to play ball. I'm good. But you've got to protect kids. This is going to happen. They're going to do it, right? And that was what just things to me that can hurt players and injure players. And they're not trying to, don't take me wrong, Martin's not trying to hurt players. They're not trying to hit you to them it's about a timing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to hit a perfect onside. This one just wasn't quite perfect. So their guy was doing his job, but it should be rewarded, whatever you want to call it, it should be a 15-yard penalty, bare minimum, if not flagrant targeting ejection type. So anyway, that was what I was really, really, really disappointed about, to the point that when they came over to say lightning delay, I didn't even want to hear anything. I was stuck on that. But just unfortunate.
So at that point, was that a quick decision to end the game too, with that last lightning?
I don't really remember how. I really don't remember how that played out. They came over there, and I'm just wanting to visit about that. And I guess it was just called. I guess. Yeah. I don't know, because they came over and said, "Hey, man, I really don't remember if officials called it or whatever, but." And I get it. It wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't. I wanted to desperately stay, but it would not have made sense for health standpoint. At that point, another delay would not have made sense for kids, for anybody. So it was probably one of those things that no decision had to be said or made. And it probably, unbeknownst to me, was, hey, if we hit another delay, we've pushed it as far as we can push it. We had another delay. We gave it a good try. We got to call it.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, you open up district play next week against McKinney-Boyd, first road game. You had a good week this week, and what do you expect next week from those guys?
Well, I don't know what to expect from McKinney-Boyd. It looked like I can't really even see on the score. I don't know if it felt like I saw that maybe it was 28-28 and they had a delay. I don't even know if, I'm assuming maybe they didn't finish or I don't know. Y'all haven't seen a score on that game, have you?
No, Cody's looking it up right now. We'll let you know as we talk. But yeah.
I felt like it. I felt like I saw, and I might have read it 28-28 delay. But but anyway, so I have that's the extent of what I know about them. What I know about us is, again, the kids are just doing everything they can. That's what I know, is that they are practicing incredibly hard. They're getting better at some things throughout the week. There's things that you're seeing on the film, both, going back to last week when we lost, there's things that we see as we're watching the game live, but then certainly as we're breaking it down, there's things that are improving. And that's what you want in non-district. Again, we want to win them all. Everybody, certainly us, certainly our kids, certainly our staff, we want to win them all. But while doing that, way more important than that is to be getting better along the way. And we say, playing the teams that we play, we love that because that's going to force that, or not, and what I'm seeing is that is happening. We are getting better. There's certainly a ton of things that have to improve, and that was the two messages last night were, man, great. It doesn't matter the level. You can watch it. You'll see it on Sundays. Ask the Kansas City Chiefs. You can see it on Saturdays. You can see it on Fridays. It's hard to win games when you're playing good teams. And what we all know about Arlington Martin is they're doing the same stuff we are. Right? Their kids work hard. Their kids are there every day. Their kids are doing the stuff in the summer. They have a proud program. They're coming out there expecting to win the game. When you play teams that really, literally, every time you step on the field and both of them believe it and have a legit chance to win it, it's tough to win. So celebrate the victory. Let's have fun. We did that. We wanted to do that together. And And then as we're turning stuff and getting out of there is, ask yourself what you can do to get better. Be prepared to come in this morning when we finish the film and they join us here in just a bit and find a way to continue to improve, because now there is no more, this is our time to win games while improving. It is now, it's a different stake, right? So they understand that. That's, again, we go back to one a boot camp. This is the message and the phases that we go through, and they know that we stepped up after that game last night phase, and just excited to see them react to that. Also told them I'm excited to see us on the road this first time. Probably not too many times people, don't play a non-district road game unless you're in a district, but excited to see get on the road and go out and play in someone else's house and do those things. So I'm ready for the week.
Cool. An update on that game. It's going to resume today at 3 o'clock with 12 seconds left.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy?
Unbelievable. That too, but I don't know, man.
Yep.
That's just weird. So there must be. I guess that means they're going to go roll into an overtime or something. Wow.
Yep. So there you go. All right, Coach. Pick 'em.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about this when you stopped by to see us yesterday.
Yeah. Y'all didn't thank me though.
We'll thank you publicly.
Yeah.
Because Coach, you went 0-3 last week, but you told us that you did it for our egos, to make us feel better about ourselves.
Like we need bigger egos.
That's right. Well, it was a combination of a couple of things. It was a combination of that, because again, I think that's what you should do as a person, right? You should constantly think about how you can make people feel better about themselves and what you can do for them. So it was a combination of that, and
feed our insanity.
I think that I might not have completely understood the rules of the game. So I'm dialed in this morning though and ready.
All right. It's hard in these first couple of weeks because there's not that many marquee games, and you don't get into conference play. So you try to look at some games that made sense, and obviously there's one this week. But we'll start out with A&M going to Miami.
Yeah, Texas A&M, I believe will win that game. I don't know. I think there's a lot of question marks on both those programs right now. Just for the state of Texas, you want to hope that they've made some changes. They certainly have the talent there to be great. So does Miami, of course. But I think that if A&M doesn't win, that's not going to be good for the short term for Aggie fans. Because they're probably. They need to go on a little roll here.
Yeah, Jimbo needs to get that straightened out.
He does. They just had, when they've had the best time. I don't know, talent that sticks around all of their roster, but when the recruiting classes that they've had, it's hard to make an argument that they're not, one of the top 4 or 5 most talented teams in college football.
Yep.
So I think they really need to win it too.
Yep. All right, second game. It's a late game. Oklahoma State at Arizona State. Former Allen Eagle Jordan Tyson now playing for Arizona State, wide receiver. Yeah, man. He didn't hang around with Dion, so he took off.
That's right. Yeah. Oh gosh, I just really, really, really like the guys over there at Oklahoma State. I'm gonna sentimentally go for them just because I like a lot of those kids on that team and really like those coaches. So I'm gonna have to go with Oklahoma State.
All right. And this one I'm interested in hearing. You really let me down last week with your LSU pick, and I think FSU heard you say that, and they said we'll show him. Because I do know the head band director there at FSU, and I let him know that you picked against him, so he passed that on to Coach Norvell. All right, Texas is at Tuscaloosa playing Alabama.
Yeah.
A really good game last year that if Quinn Ewers didn't get hurt, Texas might have won.
Yep.
But here we go.
Yeah, wow. It's such a huge game just for so many reasons. It's a huge game of 2 proud states, really. We believe passionately that the best football in the world is played in the state of Texas, whether it's high school or college. You're taking 2 teams that you think probably will battle in the what we all consider the greatest conference, until it ends and they go to 2 or 3, different named conferences. But it also is going to have huge ramifications, I would think, on the playoffs. I think that the loser of this game, it's going to be brought back up at the end, no matter how they play out. So it's really, to me, it's when you look at this and you say all these teams are playing lower level teams and different things, it's exciting, but it's almost sad that, like you mentioned right at the first, it's hard to know where these teams are this time of the year. They haven't sorted out. So to think that a game before these teams even really maybe ultimately know who their best players are and what their niche is going to be, a game is going to determine whether or not they can play in the playoffs potentially. So sad, but also for the fans of us, really exciting.
All right, you just want us to pick it for you, don't you?
I got to go Alabama.
Oh, wow, no tailgating next week. Oh, my God.
I just think in Alabama it's going to be they're not that Alabama's been down, but they've been down by not winning the championship, and I think that they're I would think that it's going to win. It's going to be a close game because Texas is going to this is different mindsets, I would think, between the two teams. I think Texas knows that, yes, if they win out, they can certainly be in the playoffs. I know that. Right. But you're talking them as kind of an unknown over the last 15 years or so of that feeling. Alabama, it's almost a little bit more pressure on them because they really do that to have a shot. And I feel like they'll probably find a way to step up and win a close one.
We were watching Game Day earlier this morning, and Texas's field goal kicker is named, Bert Auburn. And they were saying how ironic it would be if a kid named Auburn kicked a field goal to beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
That would be awesome.
So, yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be.
Yeah.
All right,
and I don't know if y'all know that Zena, committed to Texas.
Yes, sir. Watch it live.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's exciting.
We congratulated him yesterday. David and I have on our Longhorn gear this morning, so
love it. Yeah.
We'll text you later.
I'm not going to score catch-up
It's
on
going
it
to be a
either.
good game.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Coach, we appreciate the time as always, and congratulations on victory number 1 for this year, and you and the boys, and we look forward to seeing you at McKinney on Friday night.
Yeah, we're happy for all of y'all.
No, thank you. I'm really happy for the guys because they are. I mean, they are working so hard, and again, not to not end on a positive note. You still see a lot of things, just a lot of young football being played. But again, just to let them feel what it feels like for hard work to be fruitful. So man, I was just so excited for those kids and the coaches. Again, they're working it, as y'all know. They're working so incredibly hard as well. So. Thank you, guys. Thank you for how y'all make them feel every time they the kids and the coaches. But y'all are awesome, and have a blessed weekend.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll talk to you.
Bye.
There he goes, Coach Lee Wigginton. I love talking to him.
He's awesome.
He just says it like it is, And there's some coach speaking there, and that's okay because you're going to get that from any coach. But he's open and raw about things and on how they want to get things done and how they do things. So, but good for them. They win a game. He's happy. It just sounded like he let the kids come in a little bit later because usually they're pretty early. So, but he was already in the third quarter of film. So they've been at it a while. We can run through the game a little bit because there's several. Our brother James is not here this morning, but he stayed up all night pulling highlights, which we appreciate, and I'll get those plugged in later. But we didn't get all of them. There's a few we missed that I wish he would have got, but we'll. Game starts out, and we talked when we were before the game yesterday about how they just needed some positive things to happen, to kind of open the floodgates, to help this team feel good about itself. Coaches, players, community, everybody, they needed some positive things to happen to get, momentum or just a feel-good feeling. And, you couldn't ask for a better start to the game than what happened.
Jeez.
Kickoff, Martin runs, on the second play, Tank Marsh blows up his guy, gets to the running back who fumbles, drops the ball, Tank kicks it accidentally. He didn't kick it on purpose. Rolls into the end zone, and Maximus Dudley, love the name, falls on it for a touchdown. 18 seconds into the game, and you're up 6-0. You couldn't have asked for anything better, in my mind. You didn't have to do anything on offense. You got a defensive touchdown. Crowd goes nuts. Everybody's fired up. You're like, great. That's a great start. So you go, okay, is this the night?
Yeah, and you already had the advantage because the second half you get the ball first.
There you go. You're already up one score without having your offense on the field. Martin held the ball a lot last night. You know, they lost their starting quarterback, first game of the year, broke his collarbone. So he's out at minimum at least 6 weeks, if not longer. Last week they used a running back at quarterback, and they didn't score an offensive point. They had a safety in that game against Cedar Hill, who was not very good. And so they switched it up again this week. And the kid they had playing quarterback, I looked up on the roster.
Yeah, he was good.
He's listed as an athlete, and when you think about it, you know, he played quarterback. What else did I see him do last night? I was thinking
He was returning kicks.
he was returning kicks. He just seemed to do it all for him. A kid named Brooks Briggins, and you heard his name a lot last night. You know, he did a lot, and he was very effective with it. They held the ball, you know, for almost the first 7 or 8 minutes outside of the defensive touchdown. They held the ball until 5 minutes left in the first quarter. But it's bend but don't break. Defense gave up, and they kicked a field goal. You're like, okay, that's a stop. That's a win. It's not a touchdown. And you wondered at what point, okay, can this kid throw the ball? Which we'll find out later that he could.
I got something to do.
You got something to do? Okay. All right. So, I don't even know what to say. So,
Ironing your troubles.
keep going.
Ironing my troubles away.
Okay. Allen goes up 7-3. Get the ball back. Get down to Arlington's 38-yard line. And for those of you who say our quarterback could not pass the ball more than 7 yards, there's
Poppycock.
There's a 12-yard completion there. There's an 11-yard completion on this drive. There's another 11-yard completion on this drive. They do get to 3rd or 4th down and 4, and Brady gets sacked. So they had turned the ball over on downs. Martin gets the ball back, drives down for another field goal, makes it 7-6. And then the onside kick start.
Jeez.
And you always know.
I remember you sat there and said, even though Wager isn't here,
Yep.
let's see if they're still the same.
Yep. And sure enough, here they come. And as you heard Coach say, he knew they were going to do it too because he talked to the officials about it. And there were several times they got penalized. Twice last night for being offsides on kicks or kick out of bounds.
Yeah, they did it twice in one possession or whatever you call it.
So Allen gets the ball on their 45 and have an incomplete pass, only one of 3 for the night for Brady. On second down, they hand the ball off to Amir McDowell, and he goes 45 yards for a touchdown. And you just sit back and go,
Amir, come here.
that's exactly what we were saying.
Rhyme school here.
Dr. Seuss is in the house. 45 yards for a touchdown. They got a 2-point conversion. Bricker did, and it's 15-6. And you're like, okay, your offense is 1 for 2. Your defense has scored a touchdown. You're up 15-6. You're holding them to field goals. Your defense comes out, holds Martin, and they do not score. We get the ball back and get down into Martin's territory, and we have a fumble. And so there you go. Oh, the turnover bug has been in every game. You've had a turnover in every game. That was their only one last night, though, so that was an improvement. They didn't have 2 or 3. Lost the fumble. Martin drives down for another field goal. And then to me, what was the most impressive drive of the night, they get the ball back with 2:06 left in the second quarter. They start out at the 26-yard line, and they have McDowell for 5, Brickard and Hammonds for 14, Mekhi Ellis for 11, Mekhi Ellis for 7. They had a 15-yard penalty for, what was that, non-flagrant targeting?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the difference. We'll have to look that up. That takes them down to the 22-yard line. Mekhi rushes for 1. Brady completes a pass to Q. I keep saying Q. For those that don't know who Q is, it's Quentin House Hammonds, but he goes by Q.
That's just too much to say.
It is. Mekhi rushes for 1 down to the 11. We get a 15-yard penalty for offensive pass interference on a touchdown. And, I don't think it was
Malarkey.
It was on Q. That penalty was on Q, and he wasn't the kid that received the touchdown, but he might have been a clear out or something over there. And on the next play,
Wasn't that Caleb?
that caught it.
Touchdown was Caleb that caught it?
I can't remember. It was in the far right. It might have been.
I thought it was because then just a couple plays later.
The next play,
Next play.
Brady throws an absolute dime of a ball in between 2 defenders. Caleb goes up and grabs it on like the 3-yard line and walks into the end zone.
Don't do a running play.
Which I thought was one of his 2 best passes of the night. There was another pass to Messiah for a first down in the first half that he actually threaded it right in there. But so you go halftime, you're up 22-9, and you get a good feeling. One, that Martin is still. I mean, up to this point, Martin has not scored a touchdown all year. They had 2 field goals in their game against Lake Travis. They had a safety against Cedar Hill, and they've got 3 field goals against you. So they're really struggling offensively. So you got to feel pretty good about where you're at. And then halftime comes. And the band plays, the Martin band plays, and then the Allen band. Talonets do their dance with dads, and
That was pretty dang cool.
God bless you, dads. Every year when that comes up, I just cringe because I'm like, oh my goodness. But there were some dudes out there last night that just embraced that to the fullest. One guy was wearing a GoPro on his head. It's like, I want to see that footage. It was awesome. He jumped in there and did that. And then the band starts to play, and Ian comes on. Everybody, please leave the stadium. All right? Lightning. And so the lightning delays start. And they start, and they start, and they start, and they stop, and they start. It just goes on and on and on and on. And everybody leaves. We go up to the concourse, stay there for a little while, and it strikes us. We got milk and cookies out at tailgate. Let's go get them.
Yeah, especially when you hear them say, well, you're welcome to go to your cars, and you come back in no problem. You go,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah. And so we went and got the milk and cookies, and then we got an invitation to go hang out with some
Did you
folks.
say some healthy cookies?
No, milk and cookies.
Oh, milk and cookies.
Not healthy cookies.
Very
Like
healthy
Che.
cookies.
Yeah, Che puts healthy stuff in her cookies. Thank you, Che, again. They were great. And so we went up and just had milk and cookies and hobnobbed with people for a while. just held court while we waited on this delay to finally get over, and it finally did. And then the third quarter happens. I know, David, you went to work. You had to go to work. And
I mean, it was just a plethora of points being scored back and forth.
it was crazy. It just, you're like, what in the world is going on here? Allen gets the ball first.
What it was is everybody got their power nap in.
I guess so. They needed whatever they fed them in the locker room. Worked well. They throw a bubble screen on first down, lose a yard. We just go, ugh, such a beating. And they end up punting. But Martin has to punt right back, and Allen gets the ball back at their own 42. And they run that zone read option. And just like the DeSoto game,
You read it well.
Brady pulls it out right up the gut. And what did you say? As he was running, we got the clip. You might hear
Ain't
it.
nobody quicker than our bricker.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Seuss was in the house last night too.
Go, go, go!
So Brady scores. They get a 2-point conversion, and it's 30-9. Martin goes 6 plays, 72 yards. And it's that quarterback, that's where he ran for 88 yards.
Oh, my gosh.
And just outran everybody down the sideline.
Yeah, he was good.
You thought 17. I should have my. Who's 17? Is that a.
Oh, that's Kai Wheaton.
Yeah, I thought Kai was going to catch him, but he didn't. And so they go up. So Allen gets the ball back. Another onside kick. And
Surprise.
first play, Brady goes back. Moose, Iowa Washington, beats his man on the right side, and it's a 58-yard touchdown pass.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez.
He's open. He's open.
So it's like a 58-yard run, followed by an 88-yard run, followed by a 58-yard touchdown pass. And that third quarter took forever to get done because of all these. It was 1, 2, 3 plays, and boom, you're scoring. Martin gets the ball back, and they have a 31-yard touchdown pass. And so now it's 36-23. And you're like, okay, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Let's get a stop or whatever. Allen gets the ball back, another onside kick recovery. Run 2 plays, and on the third play, Mekhi Ellis goes 43 yards for a touchdown.
And number 33 on the bottom. There you go.
It was like the defenses were left in the locker rooms. It just went back and forth like this. Martin has to punt. Allen gets the ball back, and this one took a while. They actually went 10 plays, 73 yards. They score on a 30-yard. He was talking about when things broke down and Brady's touchdown. This was a 4th down and 6, and it's almost like nobody, the line laid down or whatever. He looked up and he was just surrounded by people, and he broke a tackle, and it was the same thing right back up the gut, and he rushes 30 yards for a touchdown, which, like you said, you make plays happen.
Yeah.
He made plays happen with his feet last night. So it puts Allen up 51-23. Martin scores at the very end of the third quarter. In fact, on the last play, it was a 70-yard touchdown pass. Those big plays, they've got to stop. And we'll talk about the defense in here in just a second, but that's got to improve. It gets 51-31, and then that's the end of the third quarter, and then the onside kick happens, and like Coach said, he had a discussion about what was going on, and then they called lightning, boom, done, game over. And it was after 11 o'clock. I'm not sure what time it was. It was late.
Yeah, late.
11:30 or so, and so everybody just bailed out of there. But yeah, we talked this morning at breakfast how the offense seems to be finding its way. You drop 51. I'm not going to say Martin's a good team. They're 0-3, and they've got some struggles. And they only had 50 players on the sideline, too, last night. And that, for Arlington Martin, I thought that was
very small,
a low number. So they get tired. But that defense, like Coach says, they're young in that secondary, and it's just the big play. They did make more plays last night than they had in the first 2 games. They had 4th down stops, and they were 3 and out at times. But, man, it's a struggle back there.
And 3 of the 4 are sophomores. And so, all of a sudden, you go from playing freshman football to playing against guys with hairy chests, and facial hair. It's totally different.
And they had some problems with wrapping up the runners, too. You see them on a pile, and all of a sudden the guy's out of the pile running upfield, and you go, how did that happen?
Yeah,
and
and
just missing tackles.
It's what did Coach say week 1 after we talked to him? Little things lead to big things.
Yeah.
I wrote it down somewhere, but yeah, just the little things like
was
that.
in the book.
And that one didn't make the book.
And I don't know. I know that in the past couple of years, that coaches all around Texas have talked about players getting hurt, tackling and stuff like that. And I know that there was something said about where they want people to tackle high. Man, we were back in the old days. You were taught to tackle low because if you tackle their legs, they're not going anywhere.
They go down.
And I don't see many many people on the defense tackling low. They
Yeah.
tackle high.
Yeah, they grab the shoulder pads and
Yeah.
try to twist them down or whatever.
And I guess that's supposed to be safer, but they're good tackling teams that tackle low. Okay, yeah.
You just need to tackle.
Get out there and show them how it's done, Alan.
Back in the
The
day,
sad thing is, I would, and then that hamstring will pop again, and you know what that's all about.
Yeah, we'd be laughing.
Yeah, you would.
it would be. It would. So Allen wins, but there's still, like Coach said, and we say, there's still room for improvement with this team. That defense has really got to step up, especially, when you start playing the upper tier teams in this district. The Geyers, the McKinneys, the Prospers of the world.
It's going to be a gauntlet.
Yeah, it is, and they play them back to back to back. So it's 3 big games. Now they do have Boyd and then I don't know, Rock Hill and Braswell somewhere in there. Little Elm's the last game of the year, so I'm not sure.
It's Boyd and Braswell, I think.
Braswell.
Rock Hill.
Okay. Speaking of around the district last night, Geyer went down and beat Lancaster, which is, Lancaster's a good team.
Yep.
Prosper actually lost to Rockwall late in the game. The Boyd game, like we said, is tied. They're going to play it today. Who else? Little Elm won last night. Was surprising. They beat Prestonwood Christian, which was a traditional private school power. Braswell did lose last night. McKinney won. And so pretty much everybody outside of Little Elm, well, Rock Hill won too. They beat, who did I tell you they beat?
Those guys.
Plano East.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they spanked them pretty good, 42-14. So the district overall had a good night. So, but it all starts for real next week. 7 o'clock, and what do they call it? The Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
Diamond in the
Jewel,
rough.
all right.
Yeah.
It's one of those kids' princess tiaras.
Yeah.
And speaking of your crown getting jeweled, how about a shout out, I forgot it, to Devin Palmer, number 66. What the heck?
Devin had a medical issue last night during a timeout, and it looked pretty serious, and they took him away to the hospital. So hopefully Devin's doing much better today. Don't know what happened to him, but he looked like he got his bell rung pretty well. And obviously, if they take you to the hospital, they're concerned enough about it to get you checked out. So
Prosper Rock Hill 42-14 over the Panthers.
yeah, that kind of surprised me because I thought Plano East had kind of turned it around. But yeah, Devin, get well. Hope you're okay, brother. And we'll see you back because he's been playing a lot on that defensive line.
Yeah.
Which
As a sophomore.
As a sophomore. Again, a lot of
Very young
people.
team.
I tell you what, though, they got to get this number thing straightened out because 66 as a defensive lineman just blows my mind. I'm like, that's just not right. I'm confused by that.
And we would come and visit you, but they don't let people like us come and visit, so
Something like that.
we'd bring you some prunes or something. Help you on your way.
He doesn't need old man food.
We'll get them at David's house.
Really? Special shout out to Denise Jones, who we spent a lot of time with last night. She had a lot of hot sports opinions. Kevin Knoll and his wife, thank you for entertaining us, and a special shout out to Nana for
Yeah.
Kevin's mom, who we just made giggle all night long. That was fun. She got a kick out of.
Obviously, she's easily entertained.
Yeah, exactly. But we did make her laugh, and hopefully she was going to the food bank this morning to volunteer, so she had to leave. She couldn't wait off the lightning delays. But ma'am, it was nice meeting you, and enjoyed that.
And Grandpa Allen was babysitting the kids next door last night.
Is that not a cool story? Let's go into our social aspect here.
I know people hate when we
Community.
talk about our tailgate, but it's community driven. We were sitting there about
Get out of your house and come down and frickin' tailgate
Right,
then.
4 o'clock yesterday.
I'm Nolan today.
And a lady named Jen stops and says, and I love people when they say this to us because it just makes me giggle. Like, you have no clue. She goes, y'all look like you know what you're doing. We're like, what do you need? She goes, well, where can I tailgate? So we said, you can tailgate anywhere you want other than, you can't park here. You can tailgate wherever. And we said, how many people you got? She goes, well, my 8-year-old wanted to come to an Allen Eagle game and tailgate for his birthday. And so that's what they were going to do. And she goes, we're going to have 25 people here. We said, have a seat right next to us. And so her and her husband showed up, and then all the party goers showed up, and they had the, football game right there next to us, all the little kids just having a ball with the tailgate. And when the boys came to go in the facility, the birthday kid, we got him with 4 of them, and said, hey, he got his picture made. He was thrilled, like these were his heroes. So,
And they sat there for like a half an hour yelling cheers, the boys.
yeah, they did.
There's like 15 of them. Yeah, jumping up and down.
It was awesome.
And little bitty little kid right in the middle of it too, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Dirty Couldn't be happier.
Dirty bird. Yeah. They just had the greatest time. And again, they just, they bought tents and stuff and brought food, and they just had a good old time. And, we came out after the lightning delay, the first one. We went out there, and they were packing up and leaving. And we were all, you're leaving? What? And she goes, you know how them boys were out here? We go, yeah, they were the same way inside. I think Mama was worn out. So, happy birthday.
But they had said that they're going to be back.
Yeah.
They had such a good time, they're going to be back.
Yeah. So,
And some kid got handcuffed driving off on your golf cart.
Man, we should have had video of that.
that was funny too. Chase' son Ty came, and he was looking at it. I said, dude, get in and drive it. I said, just go around the parking lot.
And how
This is the gas. This is the brake.
Yeah.
How old did he look to be?
12.
Yeah, he's a
12-ish.
little bit older, but it was so funny because Che was standing there, and he got in, and he started taking off. She goes, slow down. It's like, Che, quit being such a mom. Of course, she gets out her phone and starts videoing that. Well, when he drove around the parking lot, he came around, and one of the SROs was standing there, Officer Garcia, and I heard her say, uh-oh, you don't have a license. So he walks up to him as he's getting out of the car, and he pulls out his handcuffs. Oh, Ty, you're in
That
trouble.
was good. That was good.
But see, things like that happen. When you come out, you see stuff like that. You have good memories. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So, anyhow, anybody have anything else? No?
No.
Hook 'em.
Oh, well,
Uh-oh.
we need to, before we hook them,
That's Dr. Seuss.
I'm trying to come up with something
whatever.
beautiful as an intro to this thing here.
Something beautiful.
But we need to talk about Brother Wafer.
Who? Jabri Wafers, number 50.
Number 50.
Tackling
He's
machine.
once a sophomore.
Yep.
Tackling machine. Who kept saying, was that you, Cody, that kept saying on every kickoff he would make the tackle, and you're just like, and who was that?
Well, it wasn't me.
Or was that James?
It was me.
Okay.
It was me.
Oh, was it you?
'Cause, yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm a big fan. I've been a fan since the spring game. I'd love to see him get more. He did play significant downs last night on defense, but I'd like to see him get a little more as he works in.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
But he's involved in every. He's on the coverage team, and he'll be right in the middle of stuff. So
Mr. Wafer, and he ain't what? Never mind. Okay.
mind.
All right.
Go
Never
there.
mind.
certain things we do not
We
say.
just
believe
okay
it or
in
not.
public. All right.
All right. Well, it was a 51-31 win for Allen over Arlington Martin. We had a good time with it. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. Saw some improvement. Gave you a little better feeling about this team as
They'll get some confidence.
as they roll into district play, and that will be next week at McKinney Stadium.
Boyd.
McKinney Boyd, the Broncos. Allen will take on them, and we'll see if they can go 1-0 in district.
Oh,
So-
was there something about band?
If we want to, we're so happy right now.
Nah, we'll just let it
Okay,
go.
we'll
We'll talk
see.
about it. We'll see
Yeah.
maybe next week. But
Oh, boy.
yeah, don't forget Texas at Alabama, 6:00 on ESPN tonight. Root for the home team, even though Coach went with Bama. So we'll see how that plays out for him.
You better see if we call him back next week.
Yeah.
Or we might just have to pick one of his games.
Yeah. I deliberately don't put him on the spot with Tech, because Tech took a big loss last week at Wyoming in overtime, and this week they got Oregon coming.
I don't know. That was a pretty typical game for Tech right
Yeah,
there.
but I hate putting him on the spot, because his son's playing up there, and he'd want to pick Tech, even though, he wouldn't pick against those guys. But Maybe they're going to get spanked again tonight. We'll see if they can hang with Oregon.
No, Jormac's favorite team.
Whose?
Big 12 commissioners.
Oh yeah, he loves. Yeah.
Does he love Tech?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
So anyhow, folks, enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. Football is full blown all weekend long. And until next week, it is over, and we are out.
Bye-bye.